Okay, we'll call to order the County Commissioners Management Conference of April 8th, 2021. First item, any old business. We move on to the action items. River Park updates, Mr. Matt Meyer.
Mr. Chairman, do you want us here or there, or does it matter?
You know, that's a good one. I guess step down here would be great.
We can just stand here. I will be short and sweet.
That's great.
So my name is Matt Meyer, Service Director of the River Parks Authority. With me today is Tanya Carrick. Tanya is our Manager of Community Relations, Public Events, and a whole lot of other stuff. Thank you for your support this last year on lots of things, especially the supplemental CARES funding that we received to help reduce the impact of COVID. So we appreciate that. I would like to reiterate, sorry, words, what we mentioned during the budget hearing last Tuesday. We really hope that the county does not mirror the city's 3% operational cut. That's our hope. I also want to thank you for appointing Ken Levitt to our board last Monday. Ken has been a tireless advocate for River Parks. I appreciate that. The person he's replacing is actually Darton Zink. Darton's been also just a model board member, solid, very logical, doesn't get flustered, and very supportive. So, a few updates. 41st Plaza. We had the flood there. Everything that was underground has been replaced. That includes the vault, that includes the filters, that includes the pumps, that includes all the electrical devices down there. We have Hydrodramatics from St. Louis. They're the manufacturer of the equipment. They'll be here in the middle of this month to help with the startup, make sure everything works. We hope to get it going by early May. Also in the 41st area, you may have noticed if you drive Riverside, that the disc golf baskets are all gone. They are currently being refurbished, and we're also getting new tee box signs. That will be, that's actually a partnership between the Disc Golf Association and River Parks. It's a very popular facility. You also may have noticed that some changes at the Blue Rose area. Blue Rose is being reinvented, rebranded. What used to be the Blue Rose will be called the Sandbar, and what used to be Elwood is going to be called the Yard Bar. The Yard Bar is already been open on some nights. Got a couple pending grant applications. I don't like to talk too much about grant applications because we don't get them all. But we have one into the Recreational Trails Fund as the state. We have one to People for Bikes that Commissioner Keith wrote a letter of support for the other day. We're going to hit the send button on that tomorrow. Tulsa Global Alliance requested and received approval to put one of their sister city signs in the park. They have Tulsa has 7 sister cities, and 2,000 miles to one city, 3,000 to another. That would probably go in at 68th Street. You may have seen a tragic accident or heard about it at 61st and Riverside, the car that went in the river. Unfortunately, a young lady drowned in that deal. Very sad. Our flagpole there was also damaged, so you won't be seeing a flag fly there for a while. We're having an engineer assess it, make sure it's structurally sound. We'll probably reinforce the base. We also, the flag apparatus that raises and lowers it doesn't operate right now, so have to get that fixed before you see a flag. The major initiative on better news that we're undertaking is the Turkey Mountain Urban Wilderness Master Plan. It's a plan that was privately funded by GKFF. It was completed early 2020. We want to implement the first stages of that. It has 4 major pillars: to restore nature, to maximize access, enhance trails, and integrate programming. We've engaged Progressive Trail Design out of Northwest Arkansas to do, they're already starting on some of the trail design. Our Wild Turkey fundraiser event, which takes place every other fall, and this year will be September 30th, will focus on raising money to implement trail work. So I think we gave Julie 3 or 4 copies of the plan for the commissioners and go from there. If you have any questions for me, ask me. Tanya's going to talk a little bit more about our fun stuff. So
Great. Any questions?
Yeah, so this master plan, this is going to be just even extend out past Turkey Mountain to along Mosier Creek and over behind the Y camp. Is that part of this deal?
Yeah, the whole, there's 600 acres basically, from the river to Highway 75, north of 61st, south of the YMCA, south of I-44, that whole area. The plan actually extends west of Highway 75, but that's really, really long term.
But so that's like phase 3 or something?
Phase 16,
Okay. Okay, I just like all of it.
depends on how much money you provide.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It'll be long term.
Anything else? Vicky?
No.
All right. Okay, thank you, Tony.
I'll just quickly toss in, I think Matt covered the high points, but I'll toss in that with regard to community relations and engaging people to visit river parks, we are working with a number of event organizers and of course producing our own events, starting with, you'll see the Ironman touching river parks for a portion of the marathon, followed by then we're thrilled to see that St. Francis Tulsa Tough will happen, and their final day, the 13th of June, takes place entirely at River Parks, in River Parks area. So thrilled about that. Of course, we are moving forward to produce, and River Parks Authority does produce for Tulsa, the Folds of Honor Freedom Fest presented by Quick Trip. So we are moving ahead with that and gathering our sponsors and hoping all of those will be able to return. That's a very big deal to be produced in Veterans Park and also at the River West Festival Park. Gathering Place is also involved with supporting that event. And of course, Sandbar and Yard Bar will be involved as well. We also do have a National Trails Day, which will take place at Turkey Mountain in June. And everyone probably wants to know whether when the Oktoberfest is moving forward with plans for that event. So we hope that the numbers continue to improve with regard to public safety and health. And that's where we are. Any questions about events or activities?
Are you doing your Turkey Mountain event
The Wild
this year? Yes, is that going to be this year? or next
It
year?
is this year. We produce that every 2 years. That is a huge fundraising event. And with the master plan first steps taking place right now, our fundraising efforts around that event will really be seeing that event as a celebration of our first steps into the master plan. So that is a very big deal this year.
It's a fun event, and I would encourage all of you to go. It is so much fun.
Great. Mark your calendars. Thursday, September 30th is that
So you're shopping.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. Matt.
Thank you.
Next item, Tulsa County Sheriff's Office headquarters new locations. Sheriff Regalado.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hopefully everybody has one of our packets that shows our proposed relocation plans to move the Sheriff's Office facilities up north to right next to the Tulsa Police Academy, where our existing training center is currently sitting. I'm just briefly going to tell you why this is coming about and the necessity behind it. And then I'm going to turn it over to our friend, Ms. Dale, to explain the plans that we have thus far. First and foremost, as many of you know, we are housed at Faulkner, which is directly north of the DOJ Center. And it houses our criminal investigations, our public service unit, all of our administrative personnel. It's a very busy building. We serve the public in many different capacities, as well as recruiting and bringing potential employees up to our facility. It's very inefficient based on the layout and the fact that it is falling apart. We were exposed from a law enforcement standpoint last year during the large-scale protests. We had one way in, one way out, which causes a very serious issue. If that were to happen again, we could easily be shut down because of the one way in, one way access. And to compound that, now that the street next to right there on Elwood has been torn up for about the last year and a half, we literally are almost losing our one way in, one way out access as it is. And again, it's about 52,000 square foot building, but because of the layout, I would say there's at least 10 to 12,000 square feet that is unused, not capable of being used. So for all those reasons and many more that I won't take any more time from the presentation itself, we feel like this is an opportune time to move our facilities up north. It is in the unincorporated area. It will take, we will exit out of downtown, obviously, but still have a presence there with the jail and of course the courthouse security and JDC as well. But I think this is an opportune time. And the one last thing I would also tell you, and I think is probably one of the more important aspects of why we need to move out, is all our property room is located at the property. Our property room contains evidence and hundreds of criminal cases. If something were to happen, it would be catastrophic to the citizens in which we serve. And that's a very real deal. All you have to do is come down and take a look at the apartment. You do it at your own risk, since the one thing that has grown are the roaches and the rats that are eating. So nonetheless, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. William Tisdale to knock it out of the park.
Well, that's kind of heavy burden right there. Let me just tell you, I've not been a rock star. My prescriptions, my other prescription glasses, which are clear, broke night before last, and don't believe the commercial that said you can have it on the same day because I won't get mine for another 6 days. So that's why I have the shades on. I'm not trying to impress you guys like I'm a superstar, anything like that. But my name's William Tisdale and Gary Sparks. We're partners in a program management firm called 2020 Management. We have one other partner, Greg Shaw, that's unable to be here, but the sheriff tasked us with coming up with ideas and concepts for the new sheriff office. And there was 3 things we were tasked with: was functionality, efficiency, and ultimately economics. Those things kind of go together. It's not economics first in this instance, but the functionality and the relocation purpose associated with the functionality is important, because when you think about a 15-minute drive time from downtown to go qualify at the gun range, just one way, 30-minute round trip, time 10 employees, that's 300 man hours that you spend there. So you exponentially modify that. We can kind of see the economic impact that this has. So what we did is we kind of sit down, looked at optimization of the building, worked with the sheriff and his staff of trying to put together an efficient and effective design, the optimization of the design. And what we came up with, and I'm going to step aside and let Gary walk through the booklet with you. If you don't have a booklet, I have an extra one for you. I'll let Gary go through the booklet and we'll come back. I'll come back and go over some of the other high points. But I think 3 things that we've tried to do is, number one, identify the utilization of space. So we're not having to go, so the sheriff is not having to come back in a couple of years and say, I'm out of space here, I need a new building. So we figured out how to optimize it, make flexible space in there for future growth. So it's a long-term solution. Number 2, we've identified sources of funding to try to figure out how to make this project come, because if you know, cost is going up every day. I mean, everybody's building something right now. And with the new proposed infrastructure bill coming, it's going to be even more competitive here within the next 60 to 90 days. So what I'll do is at this time, I'll bring Gary up to go over and kind of walk you through all the plans, and then I'll come back up and we can answer questions.
Okay, thank you, William. I think probably the best way to do this is if you go to this map here in your booklet, this kind of shows you a little bit about what the sheriff was talking about, and there's really only a couple of ways to get in and out of this complex, which is really detriment to how they do their operation. But there's a visitor entrance and then staff entrance, and that's pretty much it. So at any point in time, you could shut this whole thing down pretty easily if you had a mind to. On the next page, this shows the new site. And if you look at it, the purple buildings are the new buildings that we're proposing to build on the site. The one large building called the operations building is already built. It's constructed, but it hadn't been totally finished out. So there's still some finish out that needs to be done. And then there's a mezzanine that could be built in this building that would be used for storage, which they desperately need. It's got a lot of space there that they could use for storage. The new sheriff's office building is this building over here on the side. And that is, we looked at that, and our main goal in looking at this building was to see if there was any excess space that they didn't really need. It was maximum utilized space. And after reviewing it and studying it and going over it with them, we did some rearranging, but basically we were able to validate that everything they needed would fit in here, but there's a little bit of growth available for this building, but basically it just meets the needs today with some expansion possible in the future. These other buildings that are in the purple here are storage buildings that they use for various storage, case history and so forth. Reinvented with gun range that's existing on the site. Go to the next page, you can begin to see the layout. And this is the new sheriff's office building. The main entry, is the sheriff's offices, accounting, place for visitors, conference room, media room. That's located in here. And it's basically a very efficient building. It's easy to access for the public and the staff. The next page will show you the existing operations building.
Excuse me, Gary, square footage on this building, on this.
I think that's
You got 99.
probably.
I was looking for it.